Shalom, shalom, y'all. So here I be at Whole Foods. So, I had a brethren that was praying for me today, and they were led to, and they got Psalm 34 as a consolation to them that he had me. And they relayed this to me, and I read it, and I was like, yeah, that all played out. This was after the fact of these things that are written, so it happened today. So hope and pray that this is encouragement, and whatever it may be to whoever that comes across this. It's meant to be a praise report and also encouragement that the Lord is there to deliver all those that are His. So I'll get into the stuff later. So Psalm 34, a Psalm of David regarding the time he pretended to be insane in front of Abimelech, who sent him away. I will praise Yahweh at all times. I will constantly speak His praises. I will boast only in Yahweh. Let all who are helpless take heart. Come, let us tell of Yahweh's greatness. Let us exalt His name together. I prayed to Yahweh, and He answered me. He freed me from all my fears. Those who look to Him for help will be radiant with joy. The shadow of shame will darken their faces. In my desperation I prayed, and Yahweh listened. He saved me from all my troubles. The angel of Yahweh is a guard. He surrounds and defends all who fear Him. Taste and see that Yahweh is good. Oh, the joys of those who take refuge in Him. Fear Yahweh, you His godly people. For those who fear Him will have all they need. Even strong young lions sometimes go hungry, but those who trust in Yahweh will lack no good thing. Come, my children, and listen to me, and I will teach you to fear Yahweh. Does anyone want to live a life that is long and prosperous? Then keep your tongue from speaking evil and your lips from telling lies. Turn away from evil and do good. Search for peace and work to maintain it. The eyes of Yahweh watch over those who do right. His ears are open to their cries for help. But Yahweh turns His face against those who do evil. He will erase their memory from the earth. Yahweh hears His people when they call to Him for help. He rescues them from all their troubles. Yahweh is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. The righteous person faces many troubles, but Yahweh comes to the rescue each time. For Yahweh protects the bones of the righteous, not one of them is broken. Calamity will surely overtake the wicked, and those who hate the righteous will be punished. But Yahweh will redeem those who serve Him. No one who takes refuge in Him will be condemned. So, there were a lot of those verses that happened for me today. I was, I only made it home by the good grace of God. I didn't have enough money to make a bus fare, and I went to a bus stop to hope that the bus driver would let me on, knowing I'm homeless. And then while I was sitting there waiting, I had to wait like 25 minutes, 30, maybe more. It depends. Sometimes they get delayed. And it was quite cold out, and I was sitting there with Joanna trying to give her attention and keep her, occupied from the cold. And somebody pulled up and spoke out to me, and his name was, I don't always ask, but I was led to ask, and he had $5 that he gave me. It might as well have been $500 in that moment. I had no money. And said his name was Jonathan, so I'll get to that in a minute. And so, I was thanking God and thanking Him, and anyways, cut this stuff out. I'd been praying to God. It had been difficult, very difficult day, a lot of oppression, spiritual oppression, and witchcraft's being spoken over me. And then for that to happen in my really low moment, it's only $5. It was a lot because the bus fare is $2.50, and I had eaten like 3. I had just enough money that morning to get like 3 bananas. That's all I had all day. That and water. I'm trying to remember. I believe that was it. Anyways. And so for that guy to give that, it's like that got me bus fare, and then I had enough to get some fruit, right, to have some dinner, and that made the difference. And then that was after a day of praying and like nothing coming through. That was Sunday, and then today's Monday. Woke up and I had $1.75 or something left over from that $5. And that's not enough to get bus fare, and I knew I had to be not on that side of town for the day. It was raining this morning, so I was like, man, I hope I don't get stuck on this side of town. It's not good. There's nowhere to shelter from the wickedness and from the rain, the elements, the cold. There's nowhere. So I was praying in the subway, just chilling, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And I thought, well, let me go talk to there's people that manage there's like a box where, you used to have to pay or you get change or something like that to pay to get past the little checkpoint, right? They paid your fare. And since COVID, they said, I've talked to a few of them, since COVID, they don't really do much of anything. So no one really talks to them anymore. So I talked to this. It was different than typical lady. I don't know how their shifts work, but I recognize there's two ladies at this subway station. This was not the charitable one that I know. So I talked to her. It was a funny little moment, and it was a little encouraging, but she either didn't catch up or didn't care. She didn't catch the fact that I needed help or didn't care. I don't know. So, it was a little disheartening. So I said, okay, well, what's going on, Lord? I didn't let it get me down. I walked away. And I thought to check one of my Venmo account. I was like, I'm not familiar. I don't know if it might not send notifications if anybody's in. I don't know. Anyways, and I was trying to figure out how to look at my balance, and I flipped over. I figured it out, and it said $100. I'm like, how do I have $100 in there? I have no idea. And then I saw it was sent like it was like 9 days ago, and I realized that I'd made a mistake when I did a Twitter space, and some people heard of my need and had sent some money. That two different people had sent money, and it had been sitting there the whole time, and I was laughing, going, the Lord had preserved that money because I needed it for now. And I just realized I had the money the whole time, and I went through some stuff that I didn't have to, but well, who knows? The Lord did what He did, but He made me aware of that, and then now it's like, okay, well, now I can have food today and water, and the dog can have food. And it's like I don't have to worry about any of that at all. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. Pray about it. It's already done with. And and there's these other needs that I always have to put in the background. It's always like food, transportation and food. It's like it picks away at everything I have. Especially in this city with the prices being what they are. So. And it was like, bam, it was like that. It felt like huge when I realized I was okay. It was like a huge weight lifted. And it was like I'd put too much on me. He might have been trying to tell me this. Who knows how long. I was too busy worrying about what am I going to do about the money, right? What am I going to do? What should I do? And it was like it was gone. It was there the whole time. Just for whatever reason. Anyways. And some other things have happened today since. A lot of interesting things. It's been a pretty big day in the spirit for me. So, getting to the Psalm, right? I'll just scroll through it, or skim through it, and just tell you what I'm getting. Right? Right off the bat, you got David saying, "I'll praise Yahweh at all times. I will constantly speak His praises." Right? So it's not only in the good times, right? It's constant. It's constant. We're made for it constantly. We'll boast only in Yahweh, right? Only He gets the glory. Let all who are helpless take heart. Right? And I feel pretty helpless. I have a dog I can't even properly manage. I can't properly manage my health. I feel really vulnerable, really helpless in the situation I'm in. And, I chose to be obedient and put myself here. There's many reasons, and I might go into it on this. It was mostly I wanted to focus on this, but let's just say if I didn't go through something like this, and there's certain character flaws and things like that I wouldn't see the depth of them, and to agree with God the importance of going through pain and affliction, persecution, things like that, to root them out, to reveal and root them out. So that's small, the small of it. So, and then there's, right, this verse 3, come let us tell of Yahweh's greatness, let us exalt his name together, right? It's like, hey, come on, let's all do it. You know, let's tell what he's done for you, right? Like he does stuff for us every day. He breathes in and out, air out of us. He pumps our hearts, right? He moves our bowels, you know, all of that. He does everything. He keeps us alive, despite our best efforts to kill ourselves from our sin. You know, I prayed to Yahweh, and he answered me. He freed me from all my fears. Those who look to him for help will be radiant with joy. No shadow of shame will darken their faces. Yeah, and that's what happened this morning. When I realized, it's like, oh, he was there. Once he had it figured out, and I was just, you know, fretting, you know, looking for that lady to help and this and that, and it's just like, I was like, he was there the whole time. He already had it figured out. And it was like that shadow and that weight, right? It was just, weight was lifted, and I was light as a feather, right? And I was radiant with joy. Immediately went into ministering to somebody homeless that was jacked up in the subway. Just went like that. So I was like, I was back on my purpose. I'm worrying about things that I can't fix. I'm just a creation. He has it all planned out already. Why am I worrying about those things? It's keeping me from seeing him and hearing him and doing what I need to do, which is, hey, there's somebody that needs a word of prayer. Like, they might be on death's door. They seem like it. They need a prayer. You know. In my desperation, I prayed, and Yahweh listened. He saved me from all my troubles. For the angel of Yahweh is a guard. He surrounds and defends all who fear him. Taste and see that Yahweh is good. Oh, the joys of those who take refuge in him. Yeah, that's what I partook of today. Fear Yahweh, you his godly people. For those who fear him will have all they need. Yeah. That's been it, pretty much. It's like I have pretty much what I need in each day, right? He knows what I need each day, right? Not what I want. There might be an appointed time for something, so it's a want, not a need, right? Or I don't need it yet. That's the patience you have to have, is like, you know, I want to be out of this country fast. I know it's coming for it, and I don't want to be there when it hits. And I have to patiently wait for the time when it is time to go. Because who knows what he has to do inside of me to sanctify me in this place, to use this place to sanctify me, to be a witness against them for their wickedness and their lies that they indulge in. It's a very wicked nation in a very wicked time, and who that are his sheep that needs prayer and ministering to before I go. You know, for whatever his reasons, he knows far better than I. So I have to trust that he loves me, he's good, and he's going to deliver me as he promised. Even strong young lions sometimes go hungry, but those who trust in Yahweh will lack no good thing. Come, my children, and listen to me, and I will teach you the fear of Yahweh. Does anyone want to live a life that is long and prosperous? Then keep your tongue from speaking evil and your lips from telling lies. Turn away from evil and do good. Search for peace and work to maintain it. The eyes of Yahweh watch over those who do right. His ears are open to their cries for help. There's a lot I can say about some of these. You know, modern day Christian doctrine, you know, they sort of tell you to do this, but not in like a hypocritical way. So it's like nobody's accountable, and you can't be held accountable by the pastor. You can't be held accountable by each other, even though it's exactly what the scriptures tell us, right? You want to live a life that's long and prosperous, right? Right? Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long, right? Those kind of things. Then keep your tongue from speaking evil and your lips from telling lies. Right? You want to live long? Don't do these things. He's telling you, if you do those things, you're not going to live a long life. Turn away from evil and do good. How do we know what's evil and how do we know what's good? Well, His Word tells you. And He gave you the Holy Spirit and a conscience to tell you. Search for peace and work to maintain it. Right? Okay. How are you going to have peace with God? By doing what He told you to do. You don't do what God told you to do, what's going to happen? Right? You're in sin. You're a lover of the world, right? You're mingling light with darkness, right? You're mingling you with the world in your ways. You're becoming an enemy of God. Whosoever is a friend of the world is an enemy of God, right? You're in sin, you're an enemy of God. And I mean practicing it. I don't mean, right? I mean doing wicked sins. So, we all fall short of the glory of God. We're all going to do this and do that. But you're supposed to be walking with Him, and that means walking in holiness. Right? Search for peace and work to maintain it, right? Like the peace of Messiah. Receive that peace and maintain it. If you're in sin or if you're in fear and these kind of things, then you're going to be out of it. The eyes of Yahweh will watch over those who do right. His ears are open to their cries for help, right? This didn't change. But Yahweh turns His face against those who do evil. He will erase their memory from the earth. Yahweh hears His people when they call to Him for help. He rescues them from all their troubles. I've been realizing, especially lately, that He's been doing this my entire life. Especially the last 4 years. Guys, I could have been falsely imprisoned, right, on trumped up charges because some cop said so. Because the system is so wicked and corrupt. Men of every walk, every career in this, I wrote this in my notes the other day, out of vexation I'll just read it. Hold it up, I got it right here. Hold on. I got flipped the other day, sorry. Alright, it was 15th, I think. Hold on. My handwriting's a little janky, so I gotta slowly read through it. Oh, okay. People have totally lost touch with righteousness and love. I can't wait to be out of this wicked place full of liars and abominations. Alright, Abba, please have mercy on your true people. From the homeless to the filthy rich, these people are reprobate. No one wants to hear of Yeshua. No one wants to hear of Jesus and His ways. They want to pretend they're good or that they know Him and are right with Him. Meanwhile, they watch the whole world unravel and do nothing to heal it. That was it. There's more I had on my mind, but that was pretty much a summation of what I was walking out that day. And people say I love the Lord, and they tell people to love the Lord and all this stuff, but then they're not loving Him because they're not fulfilling the second commandment, right? So therefore they're not capable of doing the first. If you can't love your neighbors yourself, you can't love God. That's what the scriptures say. So I'm just watching it happen all the time. They don't love each other. They don't love me. Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter who it is. It's like I'm watching it when I talk to the homeless, and I see and talk to some rich people. And I'm like, they're all jacked up. They're all acting the same way. So it's the same pattern. It's spirits on this nation. And it's not just Pennsylvania or Philadelphia or the Hebrews or the Europeans, right? This, that, whatever. It's all of them. That's what I'm noticing, except maybe a very few. And even then, it's like those few might have, they are His sheep, but they're still under a delusion. And they've got to go through great tribulation coming to a nation near you very soon. And, anyways, the eyes of Yahweh will watch over those who do right. His ears are open to their cries for help. But Yahweh turns His face against those who do evil. He will erase their memory from the earth. So, man, they're just not getting it. Yahweh hears His people when they call to Him for help. He rescues them from all their troubles. Yahweh is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. I was telling somebody last week that I felt like that week felt like Jeremiah, for me, felt like Jeremiah being thrown in prison in the pit. That's what it felt like in the spirit. It was pretty brutal. And those are a lot of the experiences I'm having in Philadelphia. It's not good. You know, it's necessary, but it's not good, man. The spiritual condition of people, and seeing things that were in me that I had to deal with, that God's being faithful to deal with, and all that. But man, it's one day I'll be able to convey it proper. It's a little difficult right now, but one day I'll be able to retell, you know, to process the stuff and to share it. I'm still, you know, it's a little hard when you're still going through it, but to see the spiritual condition of this nation from east to west coast repeatedly, and it's just only gotten worse. And you're just basically like where you just want to plead with people. It's like, do you not see the sword of the Lord coming upon this whole land? It's under a curse, and it's just getting worse. And it's like you just want to sit around and pretend like you're a good person, like you're a child of God when you're doing wickedness. So many people deceiving themselves, and he warned them about that. He warned them about twisting of scriptures. It's pretty sad. They don't realize the condemnation, and potentially the condemnation they've condemned themselves. They don't realize the judgments they've put themselves under by not separating from Babylon, and in fact hearkening to it, or being going from the whore to be the beast. Right? You're playing the harlot by you didn't leave Babylon. They're either in a situation where you didn't leave Babylon, right, and you're partaking in the sins and coming under the plagues of it, or you whored yourself out, you left your lover Babylon, and you went to the beast. So you're still a whore. And a traitor. You just jump bandwagons when it becomes profitable, to say the least. It's pretty sad. It's like, instead of just tapping out and being like, yeah, I don't choose any of this. It's all wicked. It's all child sacrifice. It's all lies. You know, fake. And so it's typical for anyone that's anywhere near that authenticity, is they're going to be crushed by this world. And it'll be evident. You'll be bearing a lot of sorrow and pain as Messiah. You know, Messiah and the prophets, the apostles, you know, anyone walking even anywhere remotely close with God was having to bear a lot of pain. You know, was having to give that to Him, but still go through it. You just go look at. There's a heading in my King James Bible, and it's pretty depressing to read about Jeremiah. It's pretty accurate. It's like a heading that gives an accurate account usually of the book that you're about to read, and it's like some of these men, you know, and women had to lead pretty miserable lives of being persecuted for the truth, and yet never losing that love for God and hearkening to Him. And part of my story is having to go through just the most wicked treatment for just loving God and telling the truth. You know, for just telling people like, hey, isn't it cool that like some of the lost tribes might have like immigrated through your country, right, of origin? And then they're like, how dare you? I'm going to throw you out of this cafe unjustly. How dare you telling me that anything true? Things like that. It happens all the time. It's like whether it's something like that, or they don't want to talk to me anymore. It's just like getting them excited about the truth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, isn't this cool? Like, wow, look at this. This is your part in the truth, right? He said He was the Lord of all nations, and here He is proving it. This, that, the other thing, whatever it is, you know. And they're just like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, no, you're not. I look at them, I'm like, wow, that was a quick just rejection. They're just like, yeah, no more. Whether they do that literally or spiritually, you know, I have to check myself that I don't get offended. that they treat. It's not me that I'm mad about that they treat that way, but it's the truth, right? It's about the Lord Yeshua, that they treat him like that. The truth is spoken of, and they're just like, yeah, not for me, no thanks. I'm like, do you understand what you've just done to yourself? Like, what you've done to him, who he breathes for you every day. He does all these things for you. Make sure you're fed and clothed and everything every day. And that's the gratitude. He sends somebody to tell you, hey, the kingdom of heaven is at hand, and you're like, don't need it. I'm good. The slightest distraction pops up, and they're out of the conversation like that. And I have to check myself and be like, well, they made their choice. They let that bird come up and scoop up that little seed of faith. They let the cares of this world choke it out, this, that, the other thing. I'm like, man, they didn't care about them. They really don't. They don't care about them now, and they're never going to care about them. They'll never care about a Heavenly Father that's there for them every day, that created them, that breathes life into them and loves them. There's just, the love of God is not in them. Either not yet or not ever. And that's the majority of people I talk to. And I've been realizing it. I've realized that it's been that way for most of the last almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years in a few days that I've been walking with the Lord. And I've met thousands and thousands of people all over the world, all through this nation, and back and forth through it. And it's just talking to people online, thousands and thousands, guys. And it's just like, most of them were fake believers, or they're never gonna walk in it, or they're gonna walk in it. I planted some seed, and they'll maybe walk in it after some serious affliction. Don't know. Won't find out until we get to heaven. But I'm telling you, man, it doesn't matter if they're homeless. It doesn't matter if they're millionaires. They're exceedingly wicked in this nation. They're given up to seriously bad spirits, and they're ungrateful. I mean, people, like, in an economic time such as this, and homeless people can afford to live decently, to decent food, a lot of food, afford to go do drugs and alcohol, you know what I mean? It's just insane. They can afford to do that every day, just about. Despite the best efforts of the government to suck up the resources so that the homeless have little or nothing. But it's amazing that God is faithful to provide for their food and their drink and shelter, despite, the wickedness of the times, and yet just an ungrateful people that choose to, instead of serving him and walking with him, let's just feed the alcohol. Just feed the demons. Gotta feed the demons. Anyways. Alright, so for Yahweh, let's see, the righteous person faces many troubles, but Yahweh comes to the rescue each time. For Yahweh protects the bones of the righteous, not one of them is broken. Calamity will surely overtake the wicked, and those who hate the righteous will be punished. But Yahweh will redeem those who serve him. No one who takes refuge in him will be condemned. So, yeah, for sure know that. It's going to be quick. The wicked ones will be exposed, and they'll be dealt with like that. And they're gone, and thank God. And those who hate the righteous will be punished. And I've gotten plenty of words about both of those recently. Last 4 years, but especially recently. He's about to do it. He's about to punish the wicked, make an open show of them. Like he did with Korah and his rebels. Earth just opened up, swallowed them up, them and their families. And those who hate the righteous will be punished. I've seen many people posing as righteous. But they're acting like Joseph's brothers. And then they find out, I'm not righteous, when God punishes them. And all of a sudden, they have to leave one of their brothers behind in Egypt, who gets jailed with a death sentence lingering over them if they don't return with the other brother. And they don't know if they can convince the father to bring the other brother. So now, and then they're all looking at starving to death. And they're like, well, this must be a punishment for God for what we did to our brother. And that same kind of judgment is coming for that same kind of behavior. You know, people exalting themselves over me and pretending to be God and blaspheming in that way, saying, no, you're not right. God didn't tell you to do that, and these kind of things. It's like, you sure about that? Right? And so they hate me. If you tell me lies, and you say that's the word of the Lord, right? You're just telling me lies. You hate me. Right? If you see me suffering, and you are in a position to help, and you don't do anything, right? That's hate. It says, how does the love of God dwell in you? That's not the love of God. That's hatred. You hate your brother. Right? People are starting to realize that. And thank God they're repenting even late in the stage, because they will avoid serious judgment that was coming for them. A very serious judgment. He is not going to be light-handed with the judgments he's handing down on people calling themselves righteous, people that are taking his name in their mouth. He is not going to be light with his judgments. He's first going to start with the church, and it'll be brutal. And when he's done, then he'll start judging the nations. And it is going to be catastrophic for them. And they have no hope. They don't have Messiah. They don't have salvation. Those people do, and they're going to get an A-whooping, big time. And he's going to show you were a hypocrite. You were a liar. When you said you loved me, and you were going to do what I told you to do, and I told you to, hey, look at your brother, go help your brother, go talk to your brother, go and encourage him, do this, do that, and you didn't do it. How does the love of God dwell in you? So, that's hatred. That's partly what he's describing there. That's hate. You hate your neighbor. Right? Those two, when he gave the Messiah gave the parable, right, the story of the Good Samaritan, those two Jews that walked past their brother laying half dead on the street or in the road, it was a Jew, they hated him. It was the Good Samaritan that loved him. Go and do thou likewise. It's sad when I have sodomites, right, and atheists and people like that are coming and giving me stuff, that are coming and helping me. You know, this is some of that stuff I was talking about earlier. It's just coming out. You know, it's sad when I have worldly people coming in to help me. God has to send them in, because there was somebody or some people that he already had lined up that were believers, brothers and sisters, and they said, no, but what am I going to do about, right? What am I going to do about dinner? What am I going to do about groceries? What am I going to do about this? What am I going to do? Whatever it is, whatever fear came to mind, they said, sorry, fear's my God now. I've renounced you, Yeshua. I've renounced you, Jesus, because fear's my God now. I've got to serve. Mammon's my God now. I have to serve that. You know, chaos, that's my God. Those kind of things. You're out of the love, guys. You either were never in it, you don't know what it is, or you've renounced it. You're going to be punished if you continue on in that lack of love. And I'm not just saying this for like to put a fear in people to start sending me stuff or anything like that. That's not what it is. I'm like exhorting you to look at yourself and really examine, does the love of God dwell in me? It's really hard in this time. He said the hearts of many would grow cold. He said, times like when the Son of Man returns, will there be faith on the earth? That told you it was going to get really dark, really bad. That means a dimming of the Holy Spirit. Dimming in people. Right? So, I see a lot of people are saying, I have the love, I know the love of God. God loves me. And I'm like, your actions betray you. I had someone leave me out in the cold late at night to drive 20 minutes on the other side of town. Didn't need to do any of that. They did it out of fear. Did it because, oh, I might get towed. Then just wake up and just move the car. And tell them, nope, I'm here, I'll move. A million things you could do. Literally chose, hey, I'm gonna leave Brendan and his dog out in the cold with not proper clothing on and no money, because I didn't have the money. Hey, where you at? Oh, I was sleeping. It was so great. It was such good. I was at perfect peace. And I'm like, well, yeah, that'd be good, except for the scenario is that you left me out in the cold. You shouldn't be in perfect peace. How are you able to go to sleep? You know, when a brother had just gotten put, I mean, homeless, he had burned all his bridges, was acting crazy, didn't realize the fullness of what was going on, and I finally had the excuse to leave his life, or at least leave for that moment, when he took a swing at me and God stopped him and he told me to get away from him. And that, he was treating me wickedly, guys. And I had opportunity to just go back and be like, I'm done, bye. And the fear of God, I wasn't even a mile away, and the fear of God hit me. You know, it was like, what would I want somebody to do in my scenario when I'd just gone homeless, right? My life's going wrong. I'm going through a lot. I don't know how to process it. I don't know how to properly react and deal with the things that I'm going through. And so I'm acting a bit crazy, right? Because he has no siblings, right? He has given up a lot to serve God, right? In the way that he thought he was doing, right? Dad's a Mason. Mom's just gone la la land, just doing her own thing, right? Friends, just all of a sudden they're just gone, kicked out of his church for telling the truth. Well, he was going a little astray, but you know what I mean? But the pastor, it didn't help. People just didn't help. I was like the only one that was trying. I have my own faults. I had my mess ups. I'm not perfect in that at all, but I was trying. And the fear of God hit me driving away, realizing he has nothing. He has no job, no house, very few possessions, no food. He struggles to take care of himself. You know, I was like, so I'm just going to leave him out here to just die, you know, when we were just having to deal with drug dealers right before our little falling out. I'm just going to leave him out there around all the demons and the drug addicts and all that stuff. And it's like I turned around and went to the other side of the park. So I knew he was mad at me. I was leave it there, but I was going to be around just in case, you know, at least around for the next day. And you know, that wasn't God's will. He got judged. That punch that he took at me was the last straw in God's eyes. But you see what I mean? Like, even when I had this guy treat me like trash, guys, and I'm telling you, he treated me like a slave, like a little white slave. Just treated me like didn't value me, didn't value what God had given him. They sent a Jonathan to come and be there for him and help him the best way he could. And I was new in the walk, guys. I was very fresh. And to treat me like that, and I still turned around. I could have said, nah, he deserves it. I could have justified it in my heart and just left him there to suffer whatever it was. So it's just a little story of, you know, to show you. You know, he wasn't some Saul trying to kill me, but he was somebody that went astray, and I was still, in my ignorance and in the things going, was still loving him and wanting to help him. You know, and there's things that I had to learn from that, mistakes I made, how I didn't love him proper, that helped him, that either enabled him or helped him fall. Right? And that's just a small story. But the point is to learn from those things, and then when it's revealed that you're not loving, or your love is lacking, and it could be more, then it's like, okay, feel that sorrow, feel that shame for a moment, use it to move on and grow from it and learn from it. You know, don't run away from it. Don't try to hide your shame like Saul, right? It's like Adam. You're not going to be able to hide your shame. How can you? You can't hide your shame, guys. It's not going to work ever. So sit there and be exposed in his righteous light. Let it cleanse the dross off of you. And give it to him and be like, and pray to him and say, I want to be more loving. Ask for that forgiveness. Ask for that mercy. And ask for him to show you how I can be more loving. How can I rectify this, right? Or leave your gift at the altar when you're there and go reconcile with your brother and then come back and make your offerings. So, you know, I had somebody send me money today that they tried to previously, but the Lord stopped because it was an improper offering. It had witchcraft attached to it. He did that. That's the level of protection I have on me, guys. Is things like that. It's like I needed the money. I didn't need it, but I needed it. Or, well, hopefully that makes sense. it would help. But I said, no, I don't want it. I know that person. They're not good with God. They're not good with me. I don't want their money. So if he had told me, if it came through, oh, well, I guess I get till that. They tried again today and it worked. And that was like, okay, I prayed about it. And I prayed with somebody that I know has the Spirit strong. And I know they'll tell me the truth. And we both prayed, and we were like, this is a different. So we were like, this was a couple days after that first attempt. Like, I believe the Lord humbled them and made them send it. They were supposed to send it, but they were supposed to do it the right way. And they did it the wrong way the first time, and he stopped it and said, and then he went and talked to them and got them right. And so then I was able to use that money that came through to help somebody else who had been helping me, because now they were in a position of need, and I'm homeless. And I said, well, here you go. Here's some money. That's the kingdom of heaven, guys. It's not hard. That's love. You're like quick to agree with him. You're like, I might be homeless, I might be down, but I have enough to feed me today, right? For me to have food and water for me and the dog today, and have the money that we need to transport. I have more than enough for that for the next few days. More than enough. So here's some money for you, because now you're in a position, you've been helping me a bunch, and it'd be hypocritical, and they've sent me more than what I sent. Right? I'm not able to even catch up to how much they've been sending me lately. And they are a single mother who is living off benefits. And they've recently been put under financial hardship because they've been helping me. And now the devil's coming for that money. And it's been wicked. Maybe one day that you'll be able to hear that story. But it's trying to cut off that avenue, because this person has been the only consistent person to help me. And they're trying to cut that off. Why? So I can be malnourished, I can be trapped, or I can make a bad decision to go to Egypt, right, for my help, right? It's trying to tempt me, it's trying to destroy me. This is the level of spiritual attack on my life. It is trying to destroy me, if it not physically, spiritually. Whatever it wants. It's trying to keep me from walking with God, doing whatever God is. And it's foolish, because it's not going to work. It's hurting. I'm being afflicted. But God is turning all of it to good for me and for his glory, and good for others. And so, but there are people in my life that could have made this far easier, and instead of agreeing with God over my life and preventing the devil to be able to get this close to do that much damage, they got into fear, they got into wickedness. And so now they've brought a judgment on themselves, and it's been revealed who they really are, who you really are in your heart. It's been revealed. It's been revealed to me, and it will be revealed to all around you. And they will know, I cannot trust this person. If my time of tribulation comes, I can't trust this person to be there. They'll be one of the first to leave. He will make that clear. He will make your heart condition clear to all, especially if you're in the body of Christ. And so, I say all these things to show you, to give these testimonies, and to show you people, like, examine your hearts. It's what you're told to do. Examine yourself. Make sure you're in the faith. Because if you're not loving your neighbor as yourself, you're not in the faith. You can't even meet that. You sure as hell can't love God with all your heart, soul, and strength. So you best stop deceiving yourself. You better stop calling yourself a Christian, or you better start getting on it quick. Because this great tribulation that's coming is for you, to get you right. If you don't get right with him, right, before the Lord gets here, before the judgments hit, it's too late then. You're in it. So I agreed with him the moment he called me. I agreed with him that I was a sinner in need of salvation. I agreed that he was God and not I. I agreed with it all, right? Then and there. It's just been a matter of walking the necessary things out. But I agreed with him. And there's many in this time that are saying, I agreed with him. And they give all this testimony, but then when the time comes to be there, they're not there. And I've seen it consistently. And so I go, you didn't fully agree with him. That's what the Great Tribulation is for. It's to get people into full agreement with him. For them to agree fully about their own wickedness and their shortcomings and how much they need him. How much they need his blood. The blood of the Lord Yeshua to cover and wash them. Because without him, they're nothing. They'll go to perdition, where they belong, because they were filthy So, and he shows us our filth so that we may come to him and say, wash me head to toe, right? Purge that dross. I want to be shiny gold, silver, whatever it is. I want to be shiny. I want to be clean. I don't want to have that in me, that wickedness in me, because it'll keep me from loving you. It'll keep me from loving my brothers and sisters and loving those in the world that need to hear the truth, even if they are judged as, fit for destruction. Because at least I told them the truth when no one else in their life, in their entire life, would tell them the truth. I agreed with God over their life and said, I'll tell them the truth, so they have opportunity to repent. So that's what giving the gospel is. You're agreeing with God to tell them the truth, even if it's a witness used against them in the day of judgment, that is used as testimony against them to throw them in the fire, because that was loving them. That was loving God, and that was loving them to tell them the truth, because you warned them of the fire that was coming. They just chose to not get out of the way, and that's not on you, that's on them, as Ezekiel tells us, with the sword of the watchman and the sword of the Lord that hangs over the land, right? So the Pilgrim's Progress does a pretty good job of capturing that, where you have Christian that comes into, right, belief of the word, and he's telling everybody, it's like, this city's appointed for destruction, we've got to get out of here, and they think he's crazy. It's like, that's how my walk was at the beginning. It was like, I was like, oh my God, this place is gonna burn. This place is so bad, he's gonna burn this place. And people were like, oh yeah, whatever, you're crazy, blah blah blah, it was too much for him, whatever it was. I'm like, you'll find out. I just hope it isn't too late. So, anyway, sorry, I've been going on for a while. Hopefully it's, I'm not saying like, guys, send me stuff, whatever. If the Lord tells you to do it, if your heart is telling you to do it, right, and it's not some other spirit, and it's not your flesh, I don't want your offerings from the flesh, your free will offerings. It has to be a free will offering out of love for God and love for your neighbor. I don't want polluted stuff. I don't want, God doesn't want strange fire worship, so it's like, I don't want strange fire offerings either. Because they're supposed to be offered in obedience to Him, but to where it needs to go, right? It says when they brought when they went and gathered the manna, it was for each person according to their need, right? It's the same thing in the book of Acts when they came into belief of Yeshua Mashiach in those early days. They came and sold what they had, right, to come and live together, because they were coming to build a community of believers together, right? We're coming out of the world and coming together. It's the same thing for the believers. What the level of commitment, you should be willing to give up everything to go and live with the other believers, because you have no portion with the world. It's darkness. It's in darkness. It's abiding under destruction, full of devils and lies. You want to abide in the light and the truth, and that is the Holy Spirit in vessels. And so wherever you find those people, you're like, I want to live with them. That's my family, right? Who is my brother? Who is my mother? But those that do the will of my Father which is in heaven. Those are family. Everyone else is deceived. They're under judgment. They are given over to the devil. So, anyways, I see a lot of people don't have that commitment. They don't have that level of faith. And it's like, guys, it's written. It's what they did. But very few in this time are willing to come together. It's like, I'll sell whatever I have to do. I've already done it. I've given up or sold just about everything. And I'll give the rest up if I have to get where I need to go, to be around His people, to do His mission. I will do that. Because I've agreed from the beginning. When I read those words, they were so sweet in the book of Acts, seeing what they were doing, the level of faith they had to come together. I desire family so much. Probably other than God more than anything. And so, anyways, but Yahweh will redeem those who serve Him. No one who takes refuge in Him will be condemned. So that's the key. Do you take refuge in Him, right? Like the Passover lamb, are you taking refuge in Him? Are you covered by Him? Are you protected by Him? Are you trusting in Him to deliver you from everything? If you're saying you trust in Yeshua to save your soul from death, right? That's pretty big. It's a big promise. It says when you die, it's not nothingness, right? You don't just plop into hell or into nothingness, fade out. He says that I will revive you. You're not dead. He's the God of the living. I will revive you. So if there's a lack of trusting Him in the small things, then how are you going to trust Him in that big thing, right? He's going to build up our faith to do such things. You know. Hope that makes sense. I'm not saying that you're not truly saved until you finally get it, right? He knows those who believed, but it's a matter of getting them, right? Is getting them to the comfort and the trust level, right? To really walk in that. So it takes time to understand salvation. You don't just get it right off the bat. He has to walk that out in you and build you up in trust. So, but he gets us there. So it's maturity. So, anyways. Hopefully that's edifying y'all. It's getting the closing time here, so I'm going to pack up and go. There's some things I got to do before I go home, so I hope and pray this blesses you. I had some thoughts that came to mind, and the psalm was very encouraging, so I hope the words that were testimony stuff were encouraging. It can always be worse, you know, it really can. So it's like just give thanksgiving, just be thankful for what you have, and that you even know to read his word, and that it encourages you and guides you to live a better life. So just be authentic with him. When you fall short, work with him on it right then and there. Don't bury it. Work with him on there, because he'll deliver you. He's showing you because he loves you, and he wants to chasten you to correct you so that you're better, so you can be there when he needs you, right? When he needs you to be there for somebody, whether they're a brother or sister or an unbeliever that's coming into the faith, his lost sheep, right? It's a soon-to-be brother or sister. He needs you to be ready to be used. And if you're not going to work on those things, then it's going to hinder you from being there when you need to be. And then, well, now that person perishes, or now he's got to send somebody else in, and eventually you become reprobate. And that's who he's about to judge, a bunch of people who've become reprobate. So don't suffer the same fate as them. Learn from their mistakes, right? Learn from the Sauls. Learn from the Hebrews that died in the wilderness. Learn from the Elis. Those characters like the Balaams and Esau's and the Korahs and Cain. Those characters were put there, Judas. We're to learn from them, from their mistakes and their lack of faith. And to go, okay, I don't want to do anything even remotely close to what they did. This is so bad. So, anyways. God bless y'all in the mighty name of Lord Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus Christ. Pray you're all blessed and protected and encouraged in this time. Be encouraged. He hasn't gone anywhere. He's just testing people, and he's trying to get them to build their trust with him, because, you know, they might have to go through some really difficult times, like people written in the Bible, to, you know, walk out some very tough things for his name's sake and for the sins they've committed. But it'll be to their salvation. So, be encouraged. God bless you. Have mercy on us all. Amen.